Our lives can be guided in many different directions. Sometimes we have an intention of where we want to go, and then something happens, takes us off our intended path. And we can feel lost. We can feel like we don't have the right direction. And it can be really helpful to have a guide that can really know us and guide us in the right direction to take us where we want to go. And our guest today is just the person that does this transformation. She helps guide people from where they're at to where they want to go. And it's a combination of knowledge, but also the wisdom and experience to really understand someone and really make sure that she's taking into account where you've been, your experiences, what's important to you. I'm really excited to have her on Growth Amplifiers because she is an amplifier in this world. And she's also a CPA, a CFP, and has helped many other businesses and entrepreneurs cultivate transformation. So welcome to Growth Amplifiers, Loreine K Smith.
Thank you, Kenny. It's great to be here. Appreciate the introduction.
Appreciate you being here and being the awesome person that you are. And just as a little bit of a way to get to know you, would you mind sharing your story of how you got to do what you're doing today? What led you to your place that you're at today?
Well, to kind of be a guide for other people, I think it's kind of a life path. It's learning and growing as a financial professional, but as importantly, it's learning and growing as a human being, right? So if you're going to guide somebody, you kind of have to be willing to look at yourself, right? So how I came into this space was I had a special needs son. And in learning a skill set and raising him, that skill set really transfers very well to helping other people achieve their goals. I'm not going to help you achieve your goal by telling you you're a bad person, right? I'm not going to help you achieve your goal by what I defined as putting my hands on your back and pushing you. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that by letting you find the jewels within yourself and just leading you to those jewels, right? Because we all have them. There's so much beauty in every single individual if they're willing to work for it. Because it's kind of behind the thing. It's behind that initial reaction, right? Your initial reaction when somebody does something in front of you in traffic that makes you uncomfortable, that initial reaction is usually, right. But if we can kind of come down from that, because that is life. Life brings all these little challenges too. And if you can develop skill sets to walk that path and stay on your path with your intentions. Now, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself about what your gifts are and what your gifts are not, where you need to step out and ask for help, and when it's yours to do. But my thing is, I want to know who you are, and I want to know what you want to accomplish. And then I want to help you get there.
What I like about your approach is you really need to know someone. And a lot of the times you have people say, oh, here's the way to do this, and just do it because I did it this way, and that's the way you should do it too. In some instances, following a plan that's been executed might be practical depending on what you're working on. But in some cases, what worked for one may not work for the other. And really getting to understand someone and making sure that they're even pointing themselves in the right direction is critical. What are some of the ways that you really help to get past that surface level of what someone might be saying is they're going with what's important to them down to the deeper level so that you're really getting to their true interests and intent?
That's a great question. Well, I have a lot of training in conflict, and I have a lot of training in nonviolent communication, and I have a lot of interest, right? I'm curious. So I'm going to use some various conversational techniques, which we're going to just drill down until we get to the core issue. right?
Mhm.
So we're going to do that through a back and forth. We're going to start with various questionnaires. And from that, we're going to continue to drill down until we find out what it is you're really looking for, what it is you really are trying to accomplish. Right. And it could be because, you could be, I just want to be happy. Well, what does that mean? You want to be happy. What does happiness mean to you? What it may mean is I want time away to spend more time with my family. That's what makes me happy. Okay, well, we're going to try and develop that into your plan. Now, I do some financial planning, but
Mhm.
sometimes I might say, okay, you just need to be with a financial planner because I do coaching and other things. So, what we're going to do is an initial assessment. And from that assessment, I may or may not do some analysis. It really depends. Analysis is important. Everybody's a different fact pattern. I love that you said it's not cookie cutter because I'm not a huge fan of anything cookie cutter. I think if it's cookie cutter, we probably missed the point. That doesn't mean you can't have great templates and you can't have great questionnaires, but we're all unique individuals. And so that unique individualism is really what I'm trying to locate in you. And it could just be helping you find your grace when you're going through a really hard time and you don't want to walk in with grace. You want to walk in with anger. You want to walk in with something else. And that something else isn't going to get you your goal. So we're going to have a conversation about what do you really want and then what tools are you willing to accomplish that? Because that's really what it's about. Right?
Right. I
I'm going
think
to get
that's
on the
perfect.
raft with you and you're going to guide that raft. I'm just going to be sitting there going, you probably want to go a little bit more left here. Oh, watch out for the rock. The rock's coming up. But I do not want to control your money. It's not mine. It's yours. It's not my life. It's your life. And I think that has to be respected, is the fact that it's really yours. It's not mine. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine when people don't respect other people's assets.
I heard a story. I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but something along the lines of a leader of a town he asked the townspeople to solve a problem, and all these people were coming up to them with their solutions and solutions and solutions, and he was like, I guess we're not going to have the right person didn't come up with the answer. And then one guy came up and he did something different. He asked a question. It's like, what's the purpose of what you're trying to do? And he's like, we found the winner. That everyone else was trying to just tackle what I said. This person tried to understand the bigger purpose to get the meaning behind it. And without asking the right questions, you could be taking the wrong actions. So I
True.
think that's a great approach. What's one of the things that you see that's one of the common challenges that most people have that are preventing them from achieving the things that are important to them?
Being honest with themselves.
Mm.
And making themselves a priority, those kind of things. The other thing that people have a hard time doing is trusting themselves. They have a tendency, and this is more women than men. They have a tendency to ask everybody, and I'm like, stop. Those people aren't living your life. Those people don't even have any expertise in the area you're asking them about. And so all you're doing is creating a loop of self-doubt because you've
Mm.
gone out and you've asked everybody and then you're still asking.
Right.
Right? You're still asking. So there comes a point in time where you just kind of have to stop asking the world and you actually have to spend a little bit of time with yourself to be clear. Again, it gets down to what do you want? What do you really want? Not what does Joe Smith want? What do you want?
I just did a video the other day kind of going on that, because sometimes people will say, I want this, but I need to check with this person. I need to see, like, what do you want? And then what's guiding your decision? Is it fear or is it faith? Are you thinking with an abundant mindset? Are you thinking with the scarcity mindset? Because if we're not truly identifying and knowing what we want, or we're letting past setbacks cast their shadow into our future, we're preventing what's possible. And it's like I'm sure it's something that you don't even have the awareness sometimes that you're doing it. And so having a guide like yourself to help you get that fresh perspective and awareness is priceless. For those who may not know what they don't know, what is something that they could do that might be guiding them in the right direction?
Well, so if we're going to, so money exercise, a good money exercise
Mm-hmm.
is to just write the word money down and get lots of different colors of pens and write the word money down, and then write down just everything, just draw a line in the first thing that comes up in your mind, right? Because what we're wanting to do is to allow all of the things that are kind of in your consciousness to come out,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can get an idea of what your pattern is. Your pattern is most likely going to be similar to a pattern of your parents, because that's the first place that you learned that from, right? So you're talking about patterns. You're talking about developing knowledge around patterns. That tends to be the first place that you're going to get that knowledge from. And that may or may not be accurate. Right? It's just going to be what you learned. It's just simply a learned behavior. And any learned behavior can be unlearned. Right? Unless we move into something that I'm going to call addiction territory. And then if we move into that, because people can get addicted to anything, right? So if that, then you need more sophisticated help, right? If you can't stop spending, if that's your issue, you can't stop spending. No matter what, you can't stop spending. You probably have an addiction of some sort around that. And then that becomes something, I don't think I plan to get into addictions here today, but I think that becomes something that's a bigger topic, right? So we're talking about the majority of the populace. Where are you? There's going to be outliers here and outliers there. But where is kind of the majority of the populace? Where are they sitting? Where they're sitting is, I want to give my money power away because nobody told me how to manage it, and I think I might do a good job. Or, hey, I want to control it and take it. It's mine. People make me feel powerful because I'm controlling this. And so what I'm saying is, you don't want to give that away, because nobody is going to manage your life better than you. Right?
Getting that awareness is huge. It gives you that power, like you're saying. And I would even I think everyone has somewhat of an addiction problem. I'm just saying this for the first time. So, but when you look at technology or you look at behaviors, maybe it's not addiction in the sense of the word, but we get addicted to technology. And we get addicted to procrastinating or working on the most easy things first and putting something off. It becomes a habit, and we get used to that feeling of, I like getting these little things done, and we put off the past. So I think a lot of people have formed some sort of addiction that's maybe not the traditional addiction, like to drugs or alcohol or shopping or whatever, but they're doing something that they're on autopilot doing that's preventing them from getting to where they want to go. You can call it a habit. And it's fueled, giving them enough attention to where it's fueling that repeat behavior. And so you're such an awesome amplifier and have so much insight. And I know you've got so much to share, but if people want to learn more about you and how you might be able to help them, where could they go and what would be a good first step?
And I'm going to I just want to say this one comment, which we haven't talked about, and that's accountability. So the one thing they're going to get working with someone like me is some safe accountability, because we have to build a safe container for the dialogue. And that's not anything we talked about. We didn't talk about the fact that there's a container that is built so that some individual that is chatting with me has the capacity to feel safe in that dialogue. Right? Because if they don't feel safe in the dialogue, we're not going to get to the hard stuff. So where can they find me? They can find me at Lion's Edge Advisory, and they can, if they mention this show, they can get a 20-minute free consult, but they'll need to send it to info@lionsedgeadvisory.com. And I'm happy to follow up with them and chat with them for the 20 minutes that I talked about, to give them an idea of who I am. So we're not talking about a template. We're not saying you have to buy so many sessions. It really depends upon what's going on. Sometimes somebody coaches with me for 2 sessions and sometimes it's a year. So it really depends upon what the situation is. Again, people are unique. I have a broad breadth of experience, right? From everything from lawsuits to a tax return. I've had this wonderful opportunity in my life to not only grow as a human, right? To grow as a person, to study lots of different things, right? So I can meet you in so many different ways, but to also have all this depth as a professional. It's kind of unusual for a professional to have as many, to have as much expertise as I have in as many different subjects. And that was planned. I wanted to be able to be a good, well-rounded professional and not to only be able to answer one box, right? I wanted to be able to really assess the situation. If I can't help you, that's great. I'm fine with that. I'm going to send you to somebody that can, because that's the end game. The end game is we want to get you to where you need to be so you can accomplish what it is you want to accomplish. That's the goal. In a nutshell. So anyway, it's been a wonderful opportunity to chat with you, Kenny. Thank you.
Wonderful. Appreciate you for showing up. And as a closing words that you could share, just something that you've learned on your journey that might be helpful for others on theirs.
Just do your best. Just show up, right? I would start with the 4 agreements, right? Always do your best. Your best may change from time to time, right? You just show up. Just show up, right? And if you just show up, life is going to meet you that other part. You just do your best that you can do, and you lighten up on yourself. Some days your best is great. Some days your best is not that good. But hey, that is life. It is not a straight line. It's a roller coaster. Even if you were to look at the S&P 500 over a time frame, it's not a straight line, people. It's a roller coaster. And such is the world that we live in. Right? We're on top one day and we're on the bottom the next. It's the way it works.
Well, thank you, Loreine, for being the amplifier you are. If you're tuned in, make sure that you listen to this and think about how you can apply it in your life. If you take one piece of knowledge and apply it, that is how you can transform. Small hinges swing big doors. Thank you, amplifiers. Appreciate you. Loreine, thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
To show your support, take a moment to amplify this message by sharing it online. To connect with me or gain more business growth insights, visit www.growthamplifiers.com. Thank you for your support.